Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another market breakdown. It is Tuesday, December 2nd. Let's go over the trade that we took this week, which was GBP AUD. GBP AUD ended up selling yesterday, or between yesterday and today, the same way we expected it to, exactly the way that I broke it down. Right now, I have an alarm set at my stop loss at break even and around my take profit area. But yeah, we basically entered on this little after this 4 hour bearish engulfing. We sat through some drawdown for a little while. Price shot up during market close. And since then, it's just been dropping consistently little by little. Um, my main take profit is still going to be around these equal lows. Right now, I think we're currently sitting at around a 1 to 1.2. And I'd like to get at least a 1 to 2 out of this trade. So I might even close a little bit early if price, makes it to, let's say, this daily structure point right there. So we'll see what happens. At the moment, we are still holding. And yeah, if you want the full breakdown, that's going to be in yesterday's video. All right, so let's check out Bitcoin. Can you guys hear me? It might just be, yeah, so it might just be you guys, or it might just be you. All right, so Bitcoin sold yesterday. Today it's buying back. I think that at the current moment, I think we're kind of going to have a weekly pullback, in my opinion. Right now, we had a weekly rejection candle last week, right? So last week we closed with this doji looking bullish candle, right? So after the bullish rejection, we had a sell. Price basically created a double bottom on the daily time frame. 4 hour time frame, sold very, very aggressively and turned around just as quickly. At this point, I think we're probably going to be retesting the weekly area of interest, which is around the weekly EMA, or retesting the daily EMA, which is also in or around that area. So that's what I think about Bitcoin. Probably going to be buying for the next few days. SPX tried to pull back. I think it is let's see the other ones. Okay, so US 30 pulled back into the EMA and pushed higher. NASDAQ pulled back into the EMA, retested these structures and pushed up, created a higher high. So the 4 hour time frame is bullish on NASDAQ US 30. Currently bearish on the 4 hour time frame, and SPX also bullish on the 4 hour time frame. So at the current moment, I think we might just continue pressing higher, considering the fact that we're done pulling back. I mean, nothing's stopping this from having, like, if we have a daily doji or a daily bearish engulfing candle, we could sell for another day or two into this area, have a nice rejection from this area, and then buy. But as of right now, it looks like we might just get a wick to the downside and then a candlestick push to the upside. So we'll see what happens with those. Kind of 50-50 on those right now. Gold. Gold closed with a bearish engulfing rejection candle from an area that it has sold like before. So we had quite a bit of selling happening in this area. We did close above this area of interest on the 4 hour time frame, kind of above slash within. We did retest the 4 hour EMA pretty nicely overall. I think we might just continue to press higher from here. On the lower time frames, you were able to catch a pretty nice move. You have a very, very clean head and shoulders retest of the neckline underneath the EMA. Price sold, retested, sold again. At the current moment, there's nothing stopping price from selling a third time. But as soon as price basically closes above retest, we could see some buyers coming back into this market. Excuse me. So gold, I think gold overall should see continuation to the upside pretty soon, especially considering the fact that we retested the 4-hour EMA in a very, very nice manner. Dollar index, dollar index on the weekly time frame is bearish. Daily time frame is currently bullish from here up to here, and we're currently pushing lower right now. This one's also a little bit like it's rejecting the weekly time frame here, but over here it's rejecting the daily time frame. So we're kind of stuck between those two, still waiting for the break and retest underneath, or a push to the upside, potentially retest the double top to buy. So you have two options there. It'll just require some patience. We already went over GBP AUD. At the current moment, I mean, all I see happening is a daily wick to the upside to fill in some empty space, and then a candlestick to the downside is what I would like to see and what I think is going to happen. 4-hour time frame is creating lower lows. Lower high is in order. So if we do have a pullback, we might create a lower high and then the next lower low. But yeah, next is Euro AUD. Euro AUD weekly time frame, daily time frame closed with a bearish engulfing candle. This one is kind of the same thing. We had a pullback into the area of interest, retesting the area of interest and EMA to sell. At this point, we're just looking for a lower high to the next lower low. Not terrible. I mean, you have the bearish engulfing candle, which I do not hate. We're probably just going to create lower lows, and lower lows. Price trades underneath this EMA pretty solid. Like if it's above, it's above. If it's below, it's below. If it's below, it's below. If it's above, it's above. So we should just continue to press lower, even if you were to enter a little bit late on this trade. But your stop loss would have to be above the 4-hour EMA and above the previous structure. So that's the one thing you have to look out for. All right, next is USD CHF. Also for Euro AUD, I'm not particularly interested in taking this one myself. So I'm probably going to remove it from the list since I'm already in GBP AUD, and that one's like waiting for the same exact thing. But I do like the idea behind it. You have a weekly bearish engulfing candle, you have a daily bearish engulfing candle, and you have a 4-hour lower low. So those are all things in your favor. All right, USD CHF weekly time frame has had the pullback into the area of interest. Very, very aggressive pullback the other day. And now we had another bearish candle. So we're stuck underneath this 4-hour EMA. At this point, we're just waiting for price to break above, retest, and buy. You could create a inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? So you have shoulder, head, shoulder, retest, buy. That's kind of what I would be looking for here is this. To take buys with the weekly time frame, which is bullish, and the daily time frame is technically bearish, and the 4-hour time frame is technically bullish. So you have two time frames in sync to buy. You're just waiting for the break and retest and pattern formation there. I'm gonna try to zoom through this call today because I don't have too much time. But all the details should be there regardless. All right, so daily time frame on AUD CAD is bullish. We had a pullback into the EMA to take buys at this current moment. We could be seeing some more buying. Like we definitely have the structure that we want to see in order to buy. What I would look for is, it's so messy, super, super choppy. And you have like a head and shoulders pattern here. So I would realistically wait for this head and shoulders pattern to get invalidated because you don't want to be entering buys on a reversal pattern on the 1 hour time frame. So I'd wait for price to basically break above the neckline and look for buys there. Honestly, not a huge, I mean, I don't hate this. It's definitely a valid trade. 4 hour time frame went bullish. You have your higher high, higher low, next higher high. Weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is bullish, and 4 hour time frame is currently bullish. So you have the confluences or the time frames you need. Next thing you need is a good entry, and I think that we talked about, well, here's one thing to consider, right? We're in a very, very strong area of consolidation. We could just be at the top of this channel. You know, we could just be stuck inside of this channel. And if price doesn't break out, then we just hit our ceiling right here. You know, what we need to see is we need to see a proper breakout, retest, and buy. Nothing unsure will do. We have to see a proper break, a proper retest, and a proper buy to take buys with the higher time frames. As of right now, I don't like how choppy this is. So I'm just going to take it off the list. I don't know why I didn't notice that this is in some sort of a channel. If you like trading channels, you just look for your lower time frame confirmations. You might be able to take some sells. Euro USD looks like it has broken, retested the area of interest here on the 4 hour time frame and is having a push to the upside. Ideally, I would have liked to see sells. I guess that's not what we're going to be seeing. I guess we're going to be seeing more buys. But anything can happen, right? So as of right now, you're probably better off taking buys. Weekly time frame is bullish. 4 hour time frame is bullish as well. But if you decide to wait for the sells, those would probably be a cleaner option. The only thing now is that we have closed above this EMA on the daily time frame successfully, and we might retest the area of interest in EMA to take more buys. So I'm not going to be too interested in this one, actually. I'm just going to continue waiting and seeing what's going to happen with it. NZD CAD, similar situation here where we're above the EMA on the daily time frame, and we're struggling to see selling pressure. In these situations, I don't know. In these situations, price could go either way, obviously, but I love the fact that we have this clean area of interest. We haven't really retested it from the bottom side. And I think that's what we're trying to do right now. So we broke below, retest to sell. That's kind of where my mind is at. But if you're interested in buys, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to take them. You just won't have, you'll only have the daily time frame in sync unless you wait for the 4 hour time frame to go bullish above this structure point right here. Maybe wait for a break and retest like that, and then you're probably going to be good to take that trade for buys. As of right now, you still have 2 time frames in sync to sell. All right, EuroCAD weekly time frame is bearish, daily time frame is bearish. You have this daily doji rejection candle at the daily EMA. 4 hour time frame is basically just confirmed the direction it wants to go in. Ideally, I mean, realistically, right? So we've already confirmed that we're kind of trading inside of this consolidation, right? Right now we can sell, but we might only be able to sell into this support resistance zone that was created by all this market structure. However, if we break underneath and then retest the zone, we will be able to take a much cleaner and more efficient trade. So that's still what I'm going to be waiting for. If you want to take sells, I mean, the 4 hour time frame has already confirmed that selling is an option with this huge rejection and pullback from here. Chances of us just rejecting this previous structure and this EMA is very, very high. Kind of reminds me of what price did over here, I guess, where we sold aggressively, we pulled back underneath the EMA and price continued to sell. So something to keep an eye on, I guess. Same with the 2 hour time frame. We're now underneath the EMA. And I think that that's what we're going to be doing is we're going to be selling. So EuroCAD is not a bad option. I do like it quite a lot. Obviously, NZD-CAD moves kind of similarly. Like you see a similar selling candle. However, we were stopped by this EMA. So if one of them buys, they're both probably going to buy. And if one of them sells, then they're both probably going to sell as well. So keep an eye on that one. Euro NZD weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame is bearish, and we have closed with this like daily bearish doji candle underneath the EMA. So we can take it as two things. Thing number one is we're going to be selling underneath this EMA, right? So we've broken underneath, we retested to sell. Or option number two is this daily doji candle is the same thing as this daily doji candle, is the same thing as this daily doji candle. And what that thing is it is a rejection of the EMA, most likely. So in this case, it is actually, let's go back. Daily time frame. Replay that. So we'll see exactly what price is doing. And that is right here, this push up and then this pullback into the 30-minute EMA. Push up, retest of the 1 hour EMA. So this is the 1 hour shifting from going bearish to going bullish. As you can see, this is where price broke above this initial push to the downside, and the market has shifted directions. Now, what you'll notice about the market that we're looking at right now is price tried to do that. It really did. It tried to break above retest, but now we're back below retesting to the downside. So in my opinion, I think we're actually going to continue to sell rather than buy on Euro NZD. Another thing that shows me that we're probably going to be selling, at least for the short term, is this wick to the downside. This wick is probably going to need to get filled by price action at some point in the next day or two. So, yeah, we're just going to continue waiting. As of right now, probably not going to be interested in taking the buys. Maybe you could take sells, but I'm not particularly excited about those. USD CAD. USD CAD weekly time frame is bearish, daily time frame is bullish, but we have this double top retest of the neckline, bearish engulfing underneath the daily EMA. 4 hour time frame has did go bullish, and we're currently bullish, but I do believe that we will shift bearish pretty soon. Unless we manage to break back above this daily EMA with another daily candle, chances of us taking buys are pretty low. So I would just continue waiting on price action. At the current moment, you can take sells. I mean, I don't hate the idea. The weekly time frame is bearish, and the 4 hour time frame would be bearish in your favor as well. But for me, personally, I see the market kind of recovering and pushing higher in the long term. So I do think that we might be able to recover this sell underneath the EMA. That's why we're waiting for price to break above the 4-hour EMA. Because once it breaks and retests above the 4-hour EMA, there's nothing stopping price from pushing higher. And I'm pretty sure we mentioned yesterday as well that we have this double top, we have this neckline, and that price could very easily reject it to sell. So you have to be extra patient and wait for the proper confirmation. So USD CAD going to continue waiting for buys. I'm not going to force any of them. I'm not going to take sells either because right now my mind is made up. However, if price shifts bearish on the daily time frame, for example, right here, and then we retest this, say, trend line, we might be able to take sells at that point. Yeah, so once we break through that trend line, then we might be able to take sells. Right now, we're kind of trading within this channel. We haven't really broken above or below in quite a while. All right, so let's get into some of these other pairs. We went over this one. We've talked about this one. AUD CAD still waiting for the break and retest. Euro AUD. Here you could take the retest to sell. We talked about this one. NZD USD. Weekly time frame is bearish. Daily time frame is bullish, and 4-hour time frame is currently bearish. So you have only one time frame in sync to take buys, which is your daily time frame. But we did break and retest under or above this daily EMA. However, as soon as we break back below, chances of us rejecting this daily EMA are quite high. So you can see how when we very aggressively retested this area, but as soon as we got here, we stopped and we slowed down quite a lot. So that shows me that we might be, stuck inside of this consolidation area that we discussed previously. So we might close with a daily doji this week. Next week, we might sell very aggressively. The following week, we might buy back. And that is all allowing the weekly time frame to catch up, right? So if we're bouncing around in here, that's allowing the weekly time frame to basically the EMA to slowly catch up, and at a certain point, price is going to reject the weekly EMA, and then we'll probably see some sells. Right now, I'm not interested in buys or sells. Sells I would be interested in if we could break and retest underneath the 4-hour EMA, but until that happens, I'm just going to keep my hands off of the buy and sell buttons. All right, Euro GBP looking for, or we had a break and retest above the area of interest. Daily time frame is just pushing higher. I think we already talked about how this trade is probably already gone, and it did exactly what we were thinking it was going to do. It retested this EMA and pushed higher. I think it's just going to continue pushing higher. I don't think it's going to come back. However, if it does come back, at that point, we might be able to catch a double bottom or something like that. So for right now, just going to stay away from this one, see how the weekly candle closes, and maybe we'll be able to trade it next week. AUD NZD weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame rejecting the EMA. This one looks promising. I don't like trading the AUD NZD because of the huge spreads, and also well, I guess it's not that bad. I was going to say your stop loss has to be huge, but it really doesn't. Yeah, at this point, I think we're just going to continue pressing higher. I want to see price break and retest above the 4-hour EMA. I think that's kind of what we're waiting for. This is something that I would consider maybe entering if we get a proper break retest like this. Right now, it looks like we're in this situation where we're nearing the EMA, but we're rejecting it only to then break above retest to buy. This is one that I would be interested in taking. All right, so where were we? We talked about Euro GBP, GBP USD. So GBP USD, we're waiting for the break and retest underneath the EMA. We haven't gotten the break and retest underneath the 4-hour EMA, so we're still waiting on that. AUD USD. We broke above the daily EMA. We've been above the 4-hour EMA at this point for quite a while. I don't really see anything tradable here. We're kind of moving sideways. GBP CAD still waiting on price to create a push to the upside. Very, very choppy, not interested. Daily time frame is bearish, weekly time frame is bullish, 4-hour time frame is bearish. Kind of difficult to say what's happening here. We're obviously moving upward, but the daily time frame is now underneath the EMA. I mean, at this point, we're just waiting for a daily bullish engulfing candle, or potentially waiting for price to break and retest above the daily EMA in order to take buys onto the JPY pairs. So it looks like we closed with a bunch of daily rejection candles, daily bullish engulfing, daily pushes to the upside. 4-hour time frame is above the EMA, underneath the 4-hour EMA, above all of them basically. So except for USD JPY, we're still underneath. So, and USD JPY, one thing to consider is we don't have a daily top wick. So price might be pushing to create that daily top wick, although it's not necessary all the time. Weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame is bullish. We've had a pullback. Now it would be nice to see a push to the upside. Now, this is not a very typical rejection, I guess, on price, where we have a very strong red bearish candle. Well, maybe it is something like this. In fact, these two moves look very, very similar. This one and this one right here. So in these moves, you can see a choppy downward motion for price. And then we see a red rejection candle with a wick. And then we see price basically having a bullish candle to the upside, signifying the beginning of an uptrend. We can kind of replay this and maybe see exactly what happened. Yeah, wow. All right, so looks like the 30-minute time frame is what did it. We were underneath the 30-minute time frame, and then we shifted above. We were underneath again. But overall, if your stop loss is in a decent place, like this was the first bullish candle, and then this was the next bullish candle to the upside. So if that's what price is doing right now, then there might be potential. Yeah, it almost looks exactly the same. Then there might be potential to take more buys. But your stop loss would probably have to be right underneath these candles right here, which would give you quite a large stop loss, about 45 pips. It's not terrible considering the return you're going to get is probably a 1 to 3 or a 1 to 4. It's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, so you're probably going to get for the daily structure point a 1 to 3.7. So this is one that I would be potentially interested in. Your weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame is bullish, and 4-hour time frame is currently bearish, I believe. Yeah, so you have 2 bullish time frames and 1 bearish time frame. Other JPY pairs probably going to follow in the same way, just head upwards slowly but surely. But I'm not going to be trading any of those. Yeah, USD's been doing its own thing, mostly because of Trump. Next is CHF pairs, or last is CHF pairs. Still kind of pushing upwards, it looks like. If I've seen, so this kind of looks like exactly what happened before, where we have a push up and then we have a few daily doji candles to the downside, push up, a couple daily doji candles to the downside, and then potentially another push to the upside. I think that that's exactly what's happening across the board since we're above the daily EMA on most of these pairs. So, in my opinion, I think that they're just going to continue pressing higher, maybe retesting the 4-hour EMA on its way, or waiting for the 4-hour EMA to catch up in order to press higher. It's just very, very choppy, impossible to trade at this point. We could be creating a bunch of a triple bottom, or we could be creating a triple top. It could be multiple things. I would wait for more confirmations, but in my opinion, I think that price is going to continue pressing higher because the daily time frame shifted bullish and the 4-hour time frame is also very, very bullish unless we break and retest underneath the 4-hour EMA. So for today, that basically leaves us with a bit of a shorter list. This one's going to be lower time frame confirmations. I don't know how to spell lower time frame confluence to buy. AUD NZD is going to be a 4-hour break, and I think we already did that shift and break and retest. Okay, yeah, so we already talked about this one. 4-hour break and retest or 2-hour break and retest. Wait, what? 4-hour shift the structure to buy or break and retest above the 2-hour EMA. So right now, yeah, we have a break. And this is our retest. So we might actually get we might get both of those things to happen. So that's going to be the second pair that we're looking at. This is a break and retest above the 4-hour, break and retest of the 2-hour structures and EMA for sells. Still haven't done that. I think that is still pretty valid. Euro, CAD. Pull back into the daily EMA to sell. Yeah, so for this one, it'll probably just be a pull back into 2-hour EMA to sell. And obviously with your lower time frame confirmations. And then you have USD CAD, which we're waiting for basically a daily rejection candle. For Doji. So we're just waiting for these sellers to stop selling, or if we end up all the way down here, then we're going to look for the sells after all that happens. So as of right now, this is the list looking for lower time frame confluence to buy on USD JPY, AUD NZD, looking for basically a break and retest above the 2-hour EMA or a 4-hour shift to structure. Break and retest of the 2-hour structure and EMA on NZD CAD and Euro CAD, same thing. Break and retest of the 4-hour EMA for USD CHF and USD CAD, waiting for the daily rejection candles. That is it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are amazing, and I'll see you guys in the next one.